So when Takashi Miike's 13 Assassins came out, it was a big hit. Till this day, I still view it as a modern day classic. Even people who don't like samurai films like it. It also helped that that film was on Netflix for a while. But I remember a few years ago just being on some forums and someone told me that it was actually a remake of a much older film. The original came out in 1963. And despite it having a pretty solid reputation in its home country of Japan, the film was massively overlooked by international moviegoers, and it really only just came back into the spotlight recently, just following the success of Miike's version. And what I discovered is just how close to the original that film was. Takashi Miike really did honor that original film. So, before I say anything else, I just want to say that this movie was given to me by SamuraiDVD.com for the purpose of review. Actually, it was given to me a while ago, but I was kind of busy finishing up some of my bigger videos. Hopefully you checked them out. But finally I had the time to just sit down and finally watch it. And as far as I know, you really can't find this film anywhere else. SamuraiDVD.com is basically your go-to place to get samurai films, both old and new. They all have excellent subtitle translations and just really good picture quality. So don't forget to check out SamuraiDVD.com and use the discount code BushidoBlues. Thank you. So the story of 13 Assassins is pretty identical to Miike's version. But what I did notice is that Miike did replace a lot of the character development and drama, and he replaced it with action and blood and gore, stuff that you watch Miike films for. Also, there's some moments in the end which are handled a little differently, but overall they make more sense, just because they depict more of how samurai honor was and really just more accurately on how a real samurai would have thought at the time. I also thought it was kind of funny just like how polite the assassins are just before they initiate the attack and just annihilate everyone. It's kind of like saying like, oh, forgive my rudeness, while I murder all of you. It's great. So the story begins with a vassal of the Akashi clan, and they're committing seppuku in front of the daimyo's house. As it turns out, it's a protest to his lord raping and killing a girl and her samurai husband. This scandal is quickly covered up by the Akashi lord, who happens to be the shogun's younger brother, so he could kind of get away with anything. And what makes matters worse is he's about to be appointed to a higher political position, so then he really is going to be invincible. And if this did happen, it would prove detrimental for the entire shogunate. And in response to this, a plot is created by 13 assassins, and basically they're just going to go on this suicide mission, murdering this evil lord on his way back to Edo. And the whole film is just kind of setting up how their plan is going to unfold. And just because of so much thought was put into this plan, it really does pay off in the end. So I could say for its time, the movie is definitely convincing. Even now, the cinematography is gorgeous. There's some really clever camera work. I really enjoyed the shot from behind as we're just following this assassin as he's just attacking all these guys coming at him. The movie also has a pretty constant, gloomy feel, and it's quite explicit for its time. There's some pretty brutal actions that you watch. There's also some pretty nice blood effects for the time, and when people actually do get cut, it actually looks like it. I'm not a fan of like some of the older samurai films where someone is just like slashed by a sword and there's no visible difference in their clothing at all. Never been a fan of that. I also found the acting performances to be pretty convincing. The first half of the film kind of takes its time to introduce the audience to just the different characters, the setting, and the historical circumstances of the time. The second half is quite fast-paced. It focuses on the big fight that it's building up to, and you get to see all the clever traps and the ambush and how it unfolds. The fight choreography, while nowhere as good as the 2013 film, obviously, is still entertaining to watch. They did a good job. I'll say for the most part that the movie has aged rather well. It kinda has been a while since I've seen the Miike film, so I do plan on revisiting that next and just making a video on it. I did see the 1990 TV version. I have a video on it, and actually after watching this one, I think that one is the weakest. And that version definitely had the best villain in it. He was definitely the creepiest version of Nerutsugu that I've seen. The Nerutsugu in this one is just okay. He doesn't really seem that menacing compared to the other ones. But I will say that when I revisited this story, it really made me realize just how powerful of a message it is. It's really a timeless story. There's an injustice in the government, and rather than just sitting back and doing nothing, which everyone does, these brave warriors decide to do something and enact justice. And they give their lives to do it. It's really a story I can never get tired of seeing. It's timeless, because you can always relate to it. It's a story that anyone can understand. Anyway, if you like Takashi Miike's 13 Assassins and you want to see the original, it is more of an atmospheric and character-driven version of that, with less blood, and it is in black and white, but still, it's good nonetheless, and it's a classic of its time, so you gotta see it. It is great though that this version's finally getting some of the attention that it deserves. It's been overlooked for years. Anyway, thanks for watching, and if you want to support the channel, then subscribe and check out my Patreon. You'll get early access to all videos, you get to choose the next video, and you also get access to my Discord where we kind of discuss all topics that we love. Anyway, thanks for watching.